We try to teach you things to help. Not you. I'm not doing it because I'm some great... I'm a dad, too. I want my country to be around. What we've been trying to tell you lately, in the last year, is that you are the answer. And that we must have faith, hope, and charity in our hearts. To paraphrase Martin Luther King, darkness cannot conquer darkness, only light can conquer darkness. Hate cannot conquer hate, only love can conquer hate. Talking about these things, faith, hope, charity, God, prayer. Talking about them, especially wrapped with a whole bunch of dead guys in wigs, isn't exactly popular, isn't exactly mainstream television, and none of it makes for rating success. But I contend that is the reason we are successful here. Because it's true. It seems as though there's no truth anymore. We've made an awful lot of enemies on this program. We've joked before, gosh, can we, is there anybody else we can take on? I mean, we've taken on every single person we've been told not to take on, from the anarchist to the president to the Republicans to George Soros, because the truth has no agenda. It will lead us where it leads us. But this program has not only survived, we have thrived. We've done amazing things together, and I thank you for watching. And we've done it, we've done it with chalkboards. Is that bizarre? Look at the things that we have done that are so ridiculous. The chalkboard. Who would have thought this chalkboard would be, CNN, come on, CNN is doing like holographic hookers and stuff. We're using a chalkboard. I said last night, I feel like I always have chalk on my clothes. We're the show that had the red phone. I don't know of anybody who's ever looked anybody in the eye and said, "Oh, really? You calling me a liar? Here's the phone number. Call me." And sent them the phone number. They never called. Of course, we're the only show where I've cried more than shows about babies. The baby's crying. I think we've eaten more food on television than most shows on the Food Network. And we've also proved, more than anything else, that conservatives can read, and they like to read. We've made books like The 7 Events That Made America, The Federalist Papers, The Real Thomas Jefferson, The Wives of the Signers, George Washington's Sacred Fire, The 5,000-Year Leap, The Road to Serfdom. Road to Serfdom sold more when we talked about it in this program than it usually sells in a year. It was printed in what, 1946? And speaking of words, staggeringly long monologues. I'll never forget, when I first went on the other network, I first got into this business 5 years ago. They told me, you can't talk for more than 45 seconds. You can't. You've got to change the screen. You've got to do something. You can't do that. I think we got up to 6 or 7 minutes over at that other network because they were just spooked. They were just like, no, they're dumb. One of the competitors on this show, if you want to call him that, is Jon Stewart, I guess. I just want to give you some idea. When we first came here, on our very first show, I did a monologue that was 7.5 minutes long. I remember the first 18-minute monologue we did, and everybody freaked out. We now do typical 21-minute monologues to open the show. Our first monologue was 1,000 words. Today, they're 2,500 words. That's the first 21 minutes of this show. Give you some perspective. Jon Stewart does 6 minutes. Total time on air with guests is 22 minutes a night. Our average on without guests, all monologue, all spoken word, 42 minutes. Jon Stewart, let me show you this. Here's Jon Stewart. This is him at the, Grammys or Emmys or whatever they give for television. I don't know because I'll never win one. But here he is with his writers. Okay, he's got 15 writers for this segment. I believe he's had as many as 40 writers. He uses these writers for 6 minutes of television and a total of 22 minutes a night. Whoa. Now I want to bring in my writers. Bring them in. Go ahead and bring them all in, because we have never seen them. Can you bring them in? Oh, here they are. It's Dan and Pat. Hi, Dan. Hi, Pat. That's it. It's easy to speak from the heart. It's easy to do things when you actually believe them. And we've done it with a remarkably small and dedicated staff and a remarkably large and dedicated audience. And we thank you for that. My whole world has changed because of the time we spend together every day at 5 o'clock. This is the last program. And I just want to show you little things that because we've met, things change. Holding money. If I wouldn't have said this 2.5 years ago. I look at this one. It's Ben Franklin, the Benjamins, abolitionist. I mean staunch abolitionist. Was willing to go looking crazy, go to his grave looking crazy because of it. Grant, one of the most corrupt presidents in all of history, not modern history. Andrew Jackson. Why is this guy even on our money? Indian killer, manifest destiny, horrible, horrible man. Hamilton. Hamilton wanted the big banks. He wanted the monarchy. Also the writer of most of the Federalist Papers. Lincoln. You know that I always thought Lincoln freed the slaves, and he did. You know who he credited as freeing the slaves? Oh boy, this is going to get me in trouble with everybody, I think, but Michelle Bachmann. The founders. That's who he said freed the slaves. And this guy, he's almost been a cartoon to me up until the last 2 years. And I did not tell a lie. Let's eat some cherry pie. The indispensable man and my hero. Man, it's been a wild ride. And so many things have been said. I don't know if you know this, I'm the first anti-Semitic Jew lover. Did you know that? I don't even know how that's possible, but apparently it is. I'm the only host who is simultaneously the most dangerous person in America because of my influence, and the least influential person in America because my ratings are supposedly declining, which I don't know how that one works either. And that one's not true either. This program broke every single record in the 5 p.m. time slot. Every single record. It is the highest rated show in the history of cable news at this hour. We are always, always in the top 5. And we are competing with the primetime time slots. And we only have 40% of the households even watching TV that are watching after 8 p.m. I read a story today in the paper. And they wanted to know the real reason why I'm leaving. I don't know. I'll give it to you here in a second. The press is going to look stupid again. Anyone watching this show knows. Anybody watching this show also knows that I have bent this format so far out of its structure and its parameters. I mean, this is a news channel. I do commentary. But I do more than that. I have a desire to do more than just commentary, and we have. This program launched the 9/12 movement. I asked you, last year, will you come to Washington, D.C., and just don't bring a sign, and help me restore honor? Hundreds of thousands of people showed up. I didn't even tell you what we were going to do. You just knew it. You believed in something. Bigger than me, bigger than you, bigger than all of us. And you came. Let me tell you something. Doing things like this would make the bravest of all networks wet their pants. I can't imagine. And this one stood by me. I didn't tell them what I was doing. I think they were probably pretty nervous. I told you at the beginning of this year that we were going to roll up our sleeves. I was going to roll up mine and get to work. I'm tired of waiting around. This summer is the beginning of that for me. I'm going to Israel in search of courage. what makes people live in Israel. Because it's a ticking time bomb, and they know it. Where do they get that courage? How can I get some of that courage? What has made people stand up in the face of great evil, as they have in the past? Because I believe great evil is here. What makes them that way? I don't know. I begin my search tonight after this broadcast. I'm no smarter than you. I may be able to figure out some things maybe a little faster than you, but I bet you're way ahead of me on other things. I mean, we're not that different. I bet that we look at the current crop of candidates, and you're as tired as I am of waiting for George Washington or Ronald Reagan or anybody. I told you at the beginning of the year, first episode back this year, I'm tired of waiting around. I'm tired of waiting for somebody to leave. This show has become a movement. It's not a TV show. And that's why it doesn't belong on television anymore. It belongs in your home. It belongs in your neighborhoods. Not really television. One other first before we move on. And this is the first that I think I'm probably most proud of. I started this program with a handshake with Roger Ailes. I ended it with a handshake about an hour ago. Well, and cake, too. I mean, you think I'm going anywhere without cake? There are people that say that I was fired on this program. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Here's your first. Look carefully at your screen. This is a national broadcast. I'm a wild, crazy man. Look at the screen. Do you notice that it says live at the corner? I believe this is the first time that anyone has decided to leave a network, or certainly one that has ever been fired, that had the word live in the corner of the last 42-minute live ad-libbed monologue. I hope I have earned some level of your trust. And at the same time, I want to thank Roger Ailes, Rupert Murdoch, and everybody at this network for their trust. How nice of you, Brett. Thank you very much. And Patty Ann came to the studio yesterday, and she was so kind. She has always been kind to me. And Bill O'Reilly, unbelievable gentleman. He is, he's been great. I've always told you this is a show, as we're breaking the set down here and restoring it to the way it was, which is weird. We're not transforming it. We're restoring it. Anyway, I told you this show was a show. It is. We believe in something, but we do a show. We have to get the eyeballs. That's why we... You remember the show we did with the bunny and the bunny and the chainsaw? I will admit, many times I only do things like this to hack the left off. I will admit that. But we, in the time that we have been together, we've tried to give you the tools, and now is the time for action. And I'm not your leader, and you know that. America is made of individuals, and when the individuals are strong, when the entrepreneur is strong, then we heal ourselves. That's the secret. It's you and me and people who disagree with us politically that made this country great. And it's the same with the show. It's not just me, it's you, and it's the crew. This crew, I didn't know this. I didn't know this happened in television. I mean, sometimes I'm just the dumbest guy. Stop hiding back there, Oscar. This crew taught me something, and so did the crew that I worked at the other network. And I've seen it. I mean, it's really bad at some of these networks. I think all the crew is just dead inside at some of the big networks. And it's because nobody ever asked them their opinion. Did I not say, who did I say first time? Jack, was it you that I said to the first time? Harry, I know you heard it. I said, what'd you guys think of that? And one of these guys said, you talking to me? I said, yeah.